Hey, what's going on? My name is Eric Cline, and I want to welcome you to the free training. You know, there's 3 steps that I have personally taken as being a business owner that I believe all entrepreneurs should implement in their business or into their profession. You know, at the age of 30 years old, with little to no experience, I was able to take my very first company from $0 concept in the 4th bedroom of my home to doing almost $30 million a year in gross sales. Now, mind you, I did this with little to no experience. So there are a lot of misconceptions out there about what you need or what you have to have in order to be successful. But my life didn't always used to be this way. Like, I had my fair share of struggles, which I'm sure all of us do, just like you. Like, I don't know where you're at, whether you're working for somebody, you've just started a business, and you're having a hard time breaking through to that next level of success. But I'm gonna share with you three things that I personally believe every person needs to implement. And they're 3 things a lot of other business coaches or influencers aren't talking about. And they're the obvious ones that you have to implement. So going from 0 to $30 million, how did I do it? Well, first, I want to let you know, like, my life didn't always used to be the way it is today. And what I mean by that is I've had my fair share of struggles. From the age of 13 to 28, like, my life completely spiraled out of control. I was heavily addicted to drugs. I abused alcohol, social anxiety, didn't graduate high school, went to the military, got kicked out, tried college for 2 days, realized it wasn't for me. So I don't know if any of those fit into your lifestyle or you've experienced that, but all of this we're all able to overcome these types of things. And I'm gonna show you exactly what I was able to do. And hopefully you can implement it into your life and get to where you want to go. You know, when I was 28 years old, I had to make a life-changing decision. I went from Chicago, Illinois, down to South Florida to check myself into a treatment center. And it was a decision that I made that would have changed my life for the rest of my life. And when I was able to overcome the drug abuse and really look at life through a different set of lenses, I was able to start making decisions that helped me move forward in life, just life in general. But when I got out of that treatment center, I was left with Eric. I'm heavily tattooed, didn't know if I was employable, didn't know if I really fit into the marketplace. My skill level or my credentials, I really didn't come with anything. You know, I was a union carpenter for almost 8 years. So all I really knew was swinging a hammer and pounding nails. I didn't know how to spell the word entrepreneur, but there was a company that had given me a shot. So my very first job out of treatment was in the sales industry. And the company that ended up giving me this opportunity, which was an opportunity of a lifetime. And when they gave me this chance, I actually really didn't understand the opportunity that was presented to me. And the reason I say that is it was in sales, and sales has changed my life. It has allowed me to write my own paycheck. So if you're working for somebody, just like I was at the time, and I became their top producer, and I don't know where you're at in the company or if you're an entrepreneur, but when I was working for somebody, like, there was a point where I was doing well, but I still felt like there was a ceiling over my head. And you may feel like that. I felt undervalued. I feel like they didn't appreciate me. I was the first one to show up and I was the last one to leave. And at the time, within about 2 years, and I became their #1 sales rep, there was some emotions and thoughts running through my head like, maybe I can do this as well. Maybe Eric can be an entrepreneur. Maybe I can even do it better than the individual that's running this company. And if you're having those thoughts, you need to act on those thoughts. You need to really sit down and come up with a game plan on whether or not that's the step you want to take. And if it is the step you want to take, I want to be able to personally speak with you and help you map out this entrepreneurial journey that you're going to go on. But when I left this company and I started my first company, there were doubts. There were doubts on whether or not I could be successful, whether or not I really had what it took to be an entrepreneur. Did I have the hustle? Did I have the dedication? And I remember on day one of starting this company, I put one foot in. And what I mean by that is I only went half in. I didn't commit 100%. And within the first couple months, I remember myself looking at myself in the mirror and saying, Eric, if this is something that you're gonna do, you need to provide for your family. You need to pay the bills. You need to be able to save money and hopefully one day purchase a home for your family. Like, if that's where you're at, I've been there and I've had those thoughts. And I was looking at myself in the mirror and I said, hey, Eric, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna go 100% in and I'm never gonna look back. And that was the day I committed myself, my heart and soul into my business. And I had a work ethic and a hustle that I knew was unstoppable. So the three steps that I believe every entrepreneur needs to think about, and you have to implement them. The biggest sale, the number one biggest sale that I've ever made in my life, and I ask you to do this yourself. I had to sell myself on being successful at anything that I did. If I wasn't able to sell myself, how was I gonna sell somebody else? So that's number one. Number two is I had to understand the arena in which I was operating in. I went from being an employee to an entrepreneur. So I had to understand my competition. And the very first business that I started, it wasn't even my idea. It was a concept that was brought to me. So if you think that you have to have this amazing idea to be an entrepreneur, think again. My business from 0 to 30 million, it wasn't even my idea. But what I had to do, I was in the industry of helping consumers out of timeshares. And what I had to do, being a novice about timeshares, is I had to do industry research. I had to know more about my competition than they knew about me. And the reason I wanted to do that, and I had to do that, is I had to be able to differentiate myself, my company, my product or services, so I could bring more value than my competitors. And I wanted to be the one that was able to educate the consumer on why I was the best fit for their problem. So that's number two. And then number three, which you have to do, and if you're not doing this, please take my advice. You have to constantly be educating yourself. If you're not educating yourself and you're not trying to move the needle forward, meaning filling your brain with the right information, whether it's the books, the audios, or a mentor, you have to be educating yourself at all times. When I became an entrepreneur, my biggest struggle was I had to understand that I didn't have all the information. And there was information that I needed to get in order for me to get to where I wanted to go. So if you are an entrepreneur or you're a business professional, those are the three things that I ask you immediately implement into your life. Now, again, when I started this company, I had little to no experience. But the one thing that I never did is I never gave up. My work ethic was unmatched within my entire industry. And it got me to where I was gonna go. Now, my course that I've created for you, it's got 10 years worth of information. I mean, 10 years worth of successes, 10 years worth of failures. I want to make sure that I can shorten your time frame to success so you can maneuver around the failures that I've already made so you don't have to make them. There was still doubt when I started my business, and there were days I felt like giving up. And that may be where you're at today. And I want you to know that if nobody has told you that they absolutely believe in you, just know that I want to see you succeed more than you may want to succeed at this moment in time. So what I want you to do is I want you to book a call. I want to personally speak with you. I want to hear where you're at, where your goals are, and how we can get there in the fastest time possible. Hey, this is a limited time offer. I'm offering a one-on-one call, me and you, so I can see exactly where you're at, your strengths and your weaknesses. And then we can understand how you can convert the no's into yeses. The number one thing that you need to be focusing on right now, if you are an entrepreneur, is how do you move the needle forward? How do we scale your business? How do we get more sales? How can we generate high quality leads? All of that I'm going to tell you about. So remember, I went from being almost homeless on the streets of Chicago to running a company that did almost $30 million a year in gross sales. And I want to share with you the exact step-by-step process and how I did it. No formal education, very little sales experience when I started this company. And I know if I can do it, there's no reason you can't do it. Can't wait for you to book a call. Can't wait to speak to you. Hey, have an amazing day.